in your desired format. Like for a data scientist, he wants a data in a CSV type of format. So what he will do to get the data from the web and store it inside the CSV file and then visualize it. So that's the area when web scraping comes into the picture. What web scraping does, it parse the HTML for you. It takes out the particular content from the HTML that you have selected and stores it in your desired format. So before I explain further, let me show you what I meant to say. So most of you know how HTML works, right? So HTML,
Pratik, I think your screen is white, so you need
okay.
to share like the entire Chrome tab or something.
Okay, wait. I have shared my meeting window, right? Is it visible now? I mean,
It's visible, but I think can you switch to Chrome right now?
I'm in Chrome only.
Okay, so it's not visible, so you can just go to present and then select your Chrome tab which you are working on.
Okay.
Share and then the Chrome tab.
Okay, yeah, got it. Yeah, it's still coming like this only.
Wait, let me.
Pratik, I
Okay,
guess
so I think
Yeah.
you need to
Okay.
unshare your screen first, I guess.
What I need to?
You first need to stop sharing your screen and then you can share
Okay.
the browser.
I
there's
can,
a share button at the bottom of the screen. You can just
yeah,
click on
share
that.
my meeting window like that.
No, next to the start video button, there's a share button, and over there you'll
Okay,
be
okay.
able to see.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. There are some permissions it's asking me.
Okay, until he gets it sorted, I'll continue. So what Beautiful Soup does for you is that it parses the HTML page. It does nothing else. So what you can do is that you can download a HTML page on your PC. You can make a GET request to a HTML page from the internet. And what Beautiful Soup will do is that take that HTML page and parse it for you. What does parse is that if you want a particular division inside of that HTML page, what Beautiful Soup will do is that it will get you that division. So okay, wait, let me just share my screen now. My screen is visible, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if you've seen if you've seen a HTML page, commonly you get to see that there are tags, and within those tags there are other tags. So this is a very common HTML page structure. So inside HTML there's head and body. Inside head there's title, meta, and all those are the tags. So what you can do with Beautiful Soup is that you can parse these tags. Like for example, if you want this body, you can get this HTML page, then specify that you want the body that is inside a HTML tag. So let me show you with an example. So let's take this website for an example. uh, there's one particular reason we're taking this website is that it's a dynamic website, and also it's got a minimalist element, so you'll be able to understand very quickly. So if you right click on your browser and if you click on inspect, there'll be this Chrome developer tools inspect pop up. So you can see that whenever I'm selecting this, for example, this particle container, this whole thing is getting highlighted, which means that this whole the screen you are seeing right now is entirely under this particle container div. So if let me just expand this entire thing. So you can see different sections getting highlighted. So this H1, that is the header one, contains just a hello, this text. Then this is a paragraph containing all this text. So these are basic HTML tags, and what you can do with Beautiful Soup is that if you want to get this paragraph from this HTML page, you can do that. So let me start with the basic modules required. First of all, you'll require requests. So what requests will do is that it will download a HTML page from the internet. So there's a method in request called get. So when I do request.get and a web page inside it, it will get me a response. If you heard of a 404 not found, right? That means that that web page is not found. So like that, there are different requests and responses. So when we pass a request.get and a website here, it will give us a response, and then that response is an object. So, hold on, let me show you this. I will print. I'll just print the type of this entire thing, and you'll see that it's a response object. This is taking some time because it's initializing the notebook. In the meanwhile, BS4 is the module you need to use Beautiful Soup for. So this is the name of the module, and this is a class. Beautiful Soup is a class within this module. So whenever you want to use Beautiful Soup, you usually write this statement, or you can just write from import BS4, and then you can use BS4 dot Beautiful Soup over here. But this is more convenient. So you can see that this print statement has returned a class of type request.model.response. So what this request.get is returning to us is a response. And there's no error here, so it's a 200 OK response. So when we and this also has an attribute called text. So when we do response.text, this will get us all the HTML source code. So next we got our source code from this variable request.get, the name of this this website that we're using, and the dot text attribute that will get us the HTML object. So this is just a variable name. You can modify this like soup3, soup2, or soup g, anything like that. And so you create an object of the class Beautiful Soup. Next, the first parameter is your source code. That is the HTML code you just got from the request. And next is your parser. So this is your HTML parser. So LXML is a parser that will parse both HTML and XML. If you want HTML parser, you can try HTML parser, or LXML is good enough for right now. LXML. So I'll just keep it LXML. So let's just run this. Now this soup object has been created with this source code. Let me show you by just printing out the soup object what it is. So as you can see, this is the entire HTML source code of the page that that the link was passed over here in the request module. So great. So that's about that. Next, there's this prettify method in Beautiful Soup that will indent your code. Sometimes when you use it in VS Code or something like code properly. So you use this Prettify to display it properly, indented. So this is not much useful for now. So we'll just move on. Okay, so to get your tags from your HTML page, there are 4 main methods. First method is the dot tag name method. For example, there's a tag called HTML, which we all know about. So you can use soup.html to get all the content inside the HTML tag. The second method is the find method. You use soup.find, and then inside this inverted comma, you use the name of the tag, that is soup.find, and inside this inverted comma, you can use HTML. If you want a particular class name, for example, let's say over here, this paragraph has a class AOS in it. Okay, one more thing about this is that these classes won't, when you see your beautiful soup output, you won't be able to see. Wait, let me find it. Okay, so this paragraph contains one attribute, data AOS, and then over here you can see that there's another class AOS init and AOS animate, which our beautiful soup does not get. So why does this not get this is that these are all dynamic class allocations. These are all dynamic names. So these are all animations. So when I refresh it, you'll see that this text will just pan in, and request module does not handle animation. So it will only get you the bare basic HTML. If I click on view page source, what your request.get will get you is that this entire source code, exactly this entire source code. Okay. So there's a find all method that will find all of the tags that we specified, and a select method that will use a CSS selector. For example, you would have seen that in CSS, to refer to a class we use a dot, right? So let me try. There's a class named container here, right? So let me copy that and let me find. I press Ctrl plus F, and then over here I'll enter dot and then the class name. Let me get rid of the space, and then I'll press enter. So this will give us this entire class container. You can see that when I press enter, the Chrome will highlight it. So this is what beautiful soup will do too. It will get you everything below this. So okay, so this will start in a second. I'll just share you the link for this notebook, and you can copy it, and you can go along with me. Okay, so I've pasted the notebook link over here. You should open this notebook link, click on file, and click on save a copy in drive. So this will already automatically create a copy of this notebook and open it in another tab. So if you're done doing that, please write it in chat so that I can know that you're done. And if you have any doubts up to over here, you can write it in chat. I'll view them and I'll answer your doubts. Okay, Vishwa says that he's done. Okay, I'll wait for 1 more minute, and then we'll move on. Okay, Isha is done as well. Okay, great. So I see that many of you are done with this step. So you can just go to a cell. You can press Shift plus Enter. and that will run that cell. So you can run those cells, those I have run up to now. So you will see that by yourself that how does this work. Okay, great. So I'll continue now. So okay, so first of all, just remember this. What is this soup? Soup is this entire soup contains this entire code. The entire HTML page is code, and soup is an object, so it contains that entire code and many other methods that you can use, many other variables that you can use to apply several functionalities. So first of all, let's look at the first dot method. So over here, let's search for the body tag. So you see that this is the entire body tag. Now, what if you want to get that entire everything from the starting tag of body to the ending tag of body in Beautiful Soup? So what you can do is that you can just use soup.body. We're assigning a soup underscore dot variable to soup.body. And when I print it, you'll see that this will print the everything from starting tag of body to the ending tag of body. So it must be visible that starting here we have this body tag, and at the ending we must have the end tag of that body. So soup.body will get us the entire body in this HTML. So let's try something else. So let's try a heading one, or let's try a div, just that div, right? So soup.div, let me print that. Okay, we can see that this returned div id equal to particle container and then div tag. Okay, so one question is that there are so many divs over here on this page. Why did Beautiful Soup return only one div? So what this dot method does is that it returns the first tag, first div tag found. It returns the first body tag found if you have written dot body over here. So the first div tag uh, must be this div particle container, right? So it returns the first div tag. Uh, Great. So okay, so I've already done a div over here. Let's try something else. Let's try h1. Okay, it's not getting any h1 elements. Let's say we want a paragraph. It's also not getting any paragraph element. Why is this? Does anyone know why is it not getting any h1 or paragraph elements? All right, let me just tell you. What this dot will do is that this dot will only get you head, body, and this. It's like okay. Let me show you by the diagram above. So what the initial soup.dot will get you, it will get you this HTML. Then you can do soup.html.head to get the head. Then you can do soup.html.head.title to get the title. So it works like that. So you can create a hierarchy with your dots. Great. So we can move on to the find method. You can all try the dot method, and if you have any doubts, you can ask me right now. I'll give you 1 minute to try this out. Okay, then let's move on to the next function. So the next function we have find. So find also works in a similar way as this dot operator, but it will find the first tag even though it is if you do dot find a, the find method will also find this a. Uh, uh, while whereas the dot method will not find that edge. For the dot method, you'll have to use dot html dot body dot p dot a. So here we are passing in the a tag. So this will give us the first anchor tag that it found in our HTML page. So let's see what it is over here. So the first anchor tag that we have is this information management anchor tag management.ntu.edu, and you can see that this also returns the first tag, that is management.ntu.edu and information management. Cool. So now if you want any tag that has a class name, for example, over here we are searching for a tag div that has a class named intro. So let's try that over here using CSS selectors. Class name intro. So you can use a dot to select class names, and let's, okay, so you can see that this div has a class name intro. So our beautiful soup must get us this entire section, that is from this div class equal to intro to the end tag of that div. So let's try this. All right, so you can see that it starts over here div class equal to intro and it goes over here at the end. So you may notice that there are these characters. That's because this the whoever's website this is has used emojis over here, and I've not encoded this using UTF-8. You'll need to encode your text using UTF-8 in order to display those emojis in Python. Great, so I'll wait for 1 more minute. You can try this on your own notebook, and if you have any doubts, you can ask in the chat section. If you want two occurrence, yeah, Harsh, I'm coming to that. That's the next method. So if you want two occurrence, we'll go to that. Find method is just so if you want the first occurrence of that element. Okay, so I hope you're all done with that part now. If I'm going too fast, please mention that in the chat so that I can know if I'm going too fast. So the next method is find all method. So what this method will do is that it will find all of the corresponding tags. For example, find all with an anchor tag will give you all of the anchor tags on that page. So like Harsh had a doubt before that what if you want to get the second occurrence. So this will return you all of the occurrences of A, and then this will return you a list containing all of the occurrences of A, and then you can just index the list like so. So if you want the second anchor tag, you can just index, you can just pass in 1th index, and that will get you the second anchor tag. So let's just run this for now, and let's print that. Okay, so we can see that this is a list containing all of the anchor tags. So first of all, this is the first anchor tag with information management, the second anchor tag with NTU. Let's check if that's correct. So the first anchor tag is information management, and the second anchor tag is NTU. Yeah, so that seems about right. And there are many other anchor tags. So this give you of them, and then you can just access some of them using this index key. So if you want the second anchor tag, you can just index it by 1, and then this will give you the second anchor tag of the page. Great. So okay, so find all, there's also a class argument in find all that will search all the anchor tags with these classes. So if you want to pass in multiple classes, you can just put space between them. For example, one class is t block, the second class is btn, the third class is btn outline dark. So okay, I'll take that out after I complete this find all method. So cool. So let's find what is this element in our page. So okay, so anchor tag with class names dot d block dot btn. So let's type that in dot d block dot button. And then there's dot button outline dot. Okay, so as you can see, I use CSS selectors over here. Dot first the name of the first class, then another dot, then the name of the second class, and then another dot, and then name of the third class. Okay, so there are two anchor tags with these three class names. You can see over here that this is the first one and this is the second one. So we expect Beautiful Soup to return two anchor tags. So let's see. Okay, so the first anchor tag and there's the second anchor tag, right? So great. So you can use find all to find specific anchor tags. That is, if you want to find the sixth anchor tag, you can just find all and then index. You can just go to the fifth index. So that will get you the sixth anchor tag. So I'll give you a minute to run this on your notebook and ask your doubts, and then I'll move on to the next method. Okay, so Isha has already answered your doubt. Cool. Okay, so let's move on to the next method, that is the CSS selectors method. So if you ever use CSS, you know that as I've shown, you can specify a class name using a dot. You can specify ID using a hashtag symbol, and so on. So you can use the dot select method, soup dot select, and then you can pass in a CSS selector, and that will select your HTML tag using that CSS selector. So let's just get rid of this div. So this will hashtag is for IDs, right? So this will select the tag that has an ID of particle container. So let's write this in our Chrome tool, and we'll see if what output does this give. Okay, so there's this div with an ID of particle container. So Beautiful Soup should also return that div. Okay, so you see that this it's returning this div with an ID of particle container. And just for your knowledge, if you want to know why this inside this canvas tag this is not getting printed by Beautiful Soup, it's just that these are all dynamic elements, and all this JavaScript and all these dynamic events are handled by JavaScript, and request does not give you this. So if you just right click and click on view page source, you can see that the div with ID particle container also does not have any content over here. the div id equal to particle container, and there's also no canvas element in here. So request will return you exactly what right clicking and view page source will give you in Chrome. So there are other selectors. Let me show you one more. Let me show you just a class selector. Instead of finding that, let me just find a class from above. Right, intro, right? So we've already seen how this works. So just edit and then intro. I put a dot over here since intro is a class. See, this also returns this class intro. So you can also use CSS selectors to get elements in your HTML web page. Great. So this was all about CSS selectors. You can run this in your notebook. I'll give you a minute and for your doubts and running this in the notebook, and then we'll go on to the next heading. Guys, if you have any doubts or if I'm going too fast, feel free to mention it in the chat box so I know that you're having some problem. Okay, cool. So let me move on to the next section. So the next section is about attributes. So you see that every tag has an attribute. For example, style here has a like it's not necessary, but most of these tags have attributes. Like style here has a type attribute. Uh, Meta has a name attribute, content attribute. So how do you get those attributes if you want to using Beautiful Soup? So there's a you don't need any methods. So first of all, let's just find the first anchor tag using soup.find. Okay, so this anchor tag has three attributes: href, rel, and then target attribute. So what if you want to get the href attribute? So we've saved this soup.find in a variable called soup underscore a. So you can just use that variable. You can use soup underscore a, and then in square brackets, you can pass in the name of the attribute. And what Beautiful Soup will do is that it will give you the value of that attribute. So you can see that this is giving you the href value. Let me pass in rel. This will give me the value of the rel attribute. So you can use it just like that. So if you have some tag, you can just use square brackets and mention the attribute you want to use inside like single inverted comma also works in Python. Any of the inverted commas, and it will give you the value for that attribute. Great. So if you have any doubts or if you want to try this, I'll wait for a minute and then we can move on to the final section for this tutorial, and then we'll go on to a short project. Okay, so Harsh asks if it is possible to get a list of all attributes. I think it is possible. Let me just check it out. Otherwise, I think there was a member variable called .attr attributes. Let me see if this works. Cool. So this returns a dictionary. Okay, so this is the first attribute href and the value for that href. This is the second attribute target and the value for target. And this is the third attribute rel and the value for rel. So this is how you get all the attributes. All this is just Googleable. So if this is a lot to take in, you can. There's no need to worry. So you don't usually remember all this stuff. You go on googling this as you require. Great. So let's move on to the next section. So let's say you have you got a paragraph tag from this source code. Let me search for any paragraph over here. So let's say you got this paragraph tag and you want this text. So I am Brian L. Chan. I'm sorry. Sorry. So if you want this text, I am Brian L. Chan. You can there's a method to do that. You can just do dot text or there's also a method dot get underscore text or just dot text. So first of all, what we do is that we find the first paragraph tag, and then we extract the text from that paragraph tag. So let's see if this works. Great. So the first paragraph tag was this tag itself that we selected. This tag itself, and the text inside is I am Brian L. Chan, and you can see that dot text attribute returns you the text I am Brian L. Chan. Great. So that's about the very basics of Beautiful Soup, and all you would need to make very basic projects with Beautiful Soup. So if you want some more functionalities, there's always you can find out about like for example, I showed you .attrs variable. There's many more functionalities with Beautiful Soup, but we'll just be covering basics over here. So now let's move on to project. Sarthak will now take you through a project, and you can build along with him.
All right, guys, let me just share. Is it visible? My Chrome tabs, all four.
Yes, it's visible. Yeah.
Okay. So let me just explain you what we are going to do. This is a very simple application of whatever you just learned, whatever Dave told. We are going to use all these functions to make this work. So let me just explain you what we are going to do. So on Leechess, there is an option to see all the live games being played by top rated players. So now what we are going to do is we want all those games where the rating of the two players is close to each other. Like for example, this one, the rating is close enough that we can say the game will be interesting. And in some cases, the rating is very far. So we will just extract all those games and provide you the link of those games. So let's get started. First, we will import the basic modules. You should keep writing the code with me. Okay, that's it. So first we'll start by understanding how the page is working. First we'll get the page. So that is very simple. First we'll provide the page link. This is the link on which we'll be working. So I'll copy that. Now we'll use this request module to get the page. Now we'll use the HTML parser to so it will not treat it like text, but it will see through the elements and we can search through them. Okay. The first thing what we are going to do is let me just inspect this page. First thing we will do is find all the elements, all these big elements. So we'll get all individual games. Right now, we have all these elements in our page. So first we'll sort it with these elements. So for that, we'll find the division which contains all these elements. When I click on this element, I can see that this one is highlighted. So I will go one above that, which will give me all the games. So I will use this class. So to find this class, what we do is we use find all. We'll use this soup and we will use the function find all. So soup dot find all, and what we are finding is this full division. So we'll write division and the class name. We got the class name from here, page menu content now playing. So we got the result. Now we'll just see the result. So here is the full HTML content. So now we know that it's working. So I will remove this line. Now what we need to do is separate all these games. Right now we got the full page with all the games. And we can see here that all the game are stored in A attribute like this. So we'll use find all to find all the A so that we can work on them. Now we'll use find all on results. So we'll use find all on results, and what we are finding is the A attribute. And let's just see if it's working. So right now you can see there is a division tag here in the previous result. Now you can see that the division tag is gone. We have all the separate A attributes in the list. So now let's see how many A attributes we have, so we can know how many games are being played right now. So I will use the length function. So we can see 15 games are there on the page. Okay, now we'll work on these separate attributes. Remember, our goal is to compare the ratings and find if uh, those ratings are close enough that we want to watch the game. Okay, we'll travel through all the games. Now let's see how do we get the ratings. So we'll just hover over the ratings and see where it is. So ratings are in the span with class named rating. So we can just use that. So the class what we were trying to find is this one, minigame user, which will get us the name and the rating. So let's just see what we got here by finding the minigame user. So what we see here is the name of the players and also their rating. So if I use the text attribute here, not the text, but so what this does is finds all the text present in uh, all these elements. Okay, that's okay. Actually, players is a list, so we need to travel through players. Okay, I didn't update this, so we are using this time, right? So when we did this, we got two players, the two players. Now we are traveling through both players and printing their text. So here we got the text. You can see from the website. I think it keeps updating, so we can't compare. Right. So see, you can see the name Rekul here and Rekul here too. So we got all the names, right? Now we need to compare the ratings of these players. Okay. Now the rating is in text format, so I will just quickly convert it into integer. I will just store that rating in a list in an array. So here are the ratings. Now what we need to get is the 0, 1, 2 second element of that and store it in the array. So we'll just get the second element of ratings. Actually, instead of second, I will just tell it to get the last element of rating. So how to get the last element? We'll use length of rating. So this will get me the last element of ratings, and I will convert it into int because this is a string. Okay, so this will add the ratings in an array after we have traveled through both the players. This for loop travels through both the players, and so ratings of those players are stored in this array. So now we'll just find the difference. I hope this is understood. This is the so if the rating is the difference is negative, this will convert it into one. And now let's decide of how much difference we want to set. So if difference is less than 100, so the difference between the players' ratings, these two ratings is less than 100, then we want to watch the game. So if it is less than 100, then what we want is print the link of the game. Now, how to get the link of that game? So first we'll find out where the link of the game is. So here you can see that there is an HR reference attribute here which has the link. Okay, so we'll print. This is the current element we are working on, right? So those elements, so this will get us the link. Let's see if it works. Okay, there is a okay, I did a spelling. I wrote the wrong name here. Instead of array, what we were using, I wrote a. So these are the small errors we are facing. Yeah, so you need to use a comma here. I didn't put that. So as you can see that there were 15 games, but we didn't get 15 links because some games the difference was higher than 100. So we didn't get those links. Now these links are half. So I will just use the previous page link and add it here. So as you can see, we got all the games that which have ratings less than 100, difference less than. I think we can't add it like that. Okay, we need to add it to leeches.org, not games.org, right? So here we got all the links that have difference less than 100, and that's all from the project. You can similarly use different tasks of your daily life and automate it with web scraping. So that's it from my side.
Okay, thank you so much, Sarthak. Okay, so we have a project for you that you can do at home after this session. So we have created a problem statement. Let me just put a link to that problem statement in the chat box. Okay, so I put a link to the problem statement in the chat box. So I'll present my screen and explain to you what you need to do for this problem. Okay, I think my screen should be visible now. So for this problem, there are two tasks. So you have to use this website. You have to scrape this website. Let me just open it. Okay, so this link give you several companies, the quarterly result of stock, sales, operating points, market cap, and all that of several companies. So as you can see, there are many companies here. So your first task is that you have to scrape this page and all of the you have to scrape these attributes, that is company name, company details, URL, stock price, market cap, and sales for 3 given months. That is this name, Aarti surfactant, then this link, then price of the price of that the stock of that company, and market cap, and also sales for September 2021, June 2021, and September 2020. So after you scrape that, you have to save that in a CSV file, and you can export that CSV file. So after you do that, your CSV file can look kind of like this. So as you can see, so there's company name over here, the link to that, not the link to the company, but this link that you see when I hover over here. Uh, if I open this, see this link, this table should give you that link, the stock sales for September 2021, sales for January 2021, and sales for September 2020. So this is your first task. And please note that these companies may not be same because this list keeps on changing. So here first is Aarti Surfactant, and when we had tried this, the company name was different, right? So it's Prakash Pipes. So that's about the first task. And the second task is that for every company on this page, that is for every company that you scraped over here, you have to open its link, that is this type of link. You have to go to from this balance sheet table, you have to scrape this value, that is the total assets for March 2021. You have to scrape this value for every company, and then you have to plot total assets versus company for 10 to 15 of these companies. So here I have plotted company name versus total assets for 10 to 15 of the for 10 of these companies, and you can change that from 10, or you can keep that to 10, or you can change that to 15. So these are the two tasks for this project. You can try this in your leisure time. You can use the output used here for reference. You can even Google the problems where you run into difficulties. So that's it about this problem. We'll share a Google form links where you can submit your script after you're done with it. Or if you have any doubts, you can contact us when we'll try to get it resolved. So if anyone has any problem with this problem statement or understanding this problem statement, you can ask about it in the chat box. Alright, cool. So I think no one has any doubts about that problem statement. If you have any doubt about in general about Beautiful Soup, about this session, you can also ask that right now. Okay, I'll just put the Google form where you have to submit the script over here in the chat box. So you can take a look at this form. If you run into any trouble, you can feel free to contact me on WhatsApp. I'll provide my WhatsApp number below. Alright, we'll wait for 5 more minutes, and then if no one has any doubts, we'll close this session. Great, then I guess no one has any more doubts. Thank you all so much for bearing with us for this past 1 hour and 15 minutes. I'll end this session now. Thank you. If you have any more queries, you can contact me.